Welcome to the Entrepreneur Podcast, where we take a look inside the lives of the accomplished and successful businessmen and women. We'll get up close and personal with the founders of booming startups. So lean in and prepare to carry away something to skyrocket your own business. Please subscribe to our show and do leave us a review. It means a lot to us. Now, here's your host, Rajiv.
Hey listeners, welcome to the Entrepreneur Talk Show. I am your host Rajiv Unikrishnan, and this is the show where we talk about entrepreneurship and speak to great founders, entrepreneurs and investors. Today we have with us Lavesh Pritmani, CEO and founder at the Learn Bhangra App. Welcome, Lavesh.
Hey, how are you? Thank you for having me, Rajiv.
Great. You too. Just a brief intro. So the Learn Bhangra App demonstrates popular steps through a novel new cardiovascular exercise program that simultaneously teaches you a new dance and tones your body. And of course, one can progress at their own pace through videos and also break down individual steps. And then move on to more challenging videos. A brief of Lavesh, along with the Learn Bhangra app, he's also the client executive at Lenovo. And prior to this was the director of the Bhangra Programs at Natya Academy, was the vice president at CellularMax, and a client associate at Merrill Lynch. And he's done his MBA from the Kenan-Flagler Business School. Again, welcome Lavesh, welcome to the show. Do fill in the gaps in the intro, if any, and do let us know what's going on in your world today.
Sure, thank you. Actually, just to let you know, I haven't done my MBA yet. I did my undergrad at Kenan-Flagler, but no worries. Many people see that and get confused by the two. But at any rate, yeah. So my background is like you mentioned, originally in the finance field when I did undergraduate business school, and so I started originally working for Merrill Lynch, doing wealth management, and then had a little bit of a career change. It was a tough market, and at that time, 2010, 2012 is when I was doing my job, and so I wanted to try something different, and that's where I got into sales at Lenovo, being a client executive there. It's kind of interesting because both the backgrounds in finance and technology have really helped me with developing and promoting and getting this app out there. I think it requires obviously all types of different knowledge when you're trying any type of entrepreneurial venture, and
Absolutely.
And I think that's exactly what helped me out. Having diversity in my career experiences to help me along the way.
Okay, great. So before we get into product, first, any passions outside of work?
Yeah, I'm a huge sports guy.
Okay.
Particularly, I'm a big Brazilian football, soccer in America, we call it, fan.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm an avid supporter. I'll follow them everywhere when it comes to any international football. I'm always following that pretty closely, and I play basketball and soccer as well too. So yeah, I like to keep myself active outside of fun.
So getting to the inevitable question is, what inspired the idea for the Learn Bhangra app?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you mentioned, I originally was the director of Bhangra Programs at Natya Academy. So I was doing that for about 8 to 9 years. Originally had started at this academy as a teacher. So growing up, I wasn't really big into dancing. I think many boys always think that dancing is for girls growing up, and I was one of those boys. I didn't really want to get on the dance floor or take classes. But in high school, all of that changed. I met a lot more Indian Desi friends in the area I was growing up in, and so that community kind of allowed me to get into dance and more into cultural activities. And so one thing was Bhangra being a manly dance, so I started teaching it after I had I guess some aptitude for it. I started teaching it at Natya Academy, and then around my 8th or 9th year, I realized, well, as much as I love this is great to be able to have students come in and create like a family out of your academy. It became, what's the next step? How can I really spread this to everybody? And that's where the idea of the app came in. My co-founder, Sandeep, him and I, he's a software developer. We looked at this and said, okay, you want to develop an app, Sandeep. This is the one thing I have knowledge in. Why don't we combine the two and really take this venture forward? And we figured we can spread Bhangra to anywhere, any person. It doesn't matter where they are across the world. And that was kind of unique because it's one of the first apps, I'd say, and one of the few apps that really allow teaching of dance through technology. And that's what I think has allowed for our initial success.
Great. So your co-founder Sandeep, he was with you from day one?
Yes. Together, him and I spent the nights, putting it together and all the way through launch. And now he acts as an advisor since the app is pretty self-sustaining at this point.
Okay. And so what would be the vision for the company?
For us, we definitely want to make the app accessible to everybody all over the world. But I think we also want the app to serve as a marketing tool for our team, in the sense that, people can see what our work is, what we've been able to accomplish, how we're able to teach, and take this to other ventures. So, for example, out of the app now, I actually travel almost once a month, really across the world, doing Bhangra workshops in countries.
Okay.
So dance studios will, come across the app and say, hey, we'd love for you to come here and give a workshop for a weekend, that type of situation. So that's allowed us to make personal relationships. It's allowed us to grow downloads within the country very, very well, because we have that personal touch.
Yep.
And then also getting into things like media, right? Choreography for Bollywood, Hollywood, TV shows, that type of thing. So the app has been the catalyst for a lot of other areas outside of just download growth.
Great. So if we take the app, how does it work for a user?
Yeah, so the app is completely free to download for iOS and Android devices. And basically, once the user downloads it, they have a couple different options. The first main option is, of course, to learn the steps. And how we've done that is we've created these high-quality video tutorials that you can watch, and it takes you sequentially from beginner, intermediate, through advanced steps.
Okay.
So there's about over 40 videos that you can watch and continue to progress at kind of your own pace. But there's some other functions in there and features that we've also included. One big one is what we call the Bhangra workout. This is how we monetize the actual app, which is a fitness program. So basically, users get access to these extra videos, and together with the free videos, the tutorial videos, and the videos that they purchase, they have a plan that's put together for them. It's called the Bhangra Workouts, a 30-day, less than 30-minute a day plan. That allows them to get in shape and of course, reach fitness goals. So it becomes like a high-intensity dance program within the app itself.
Okay, so that's the PDF would be just a static text version of it, correct? That you have online?
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
You can have it as a PDF file, or you can also enter your information within the Bhangra workout, and it will send calendar reminders to you every day to say, here's the time you should start your workout.
Good. So I've seen some other features like it also tells you the amount of calories burned, etc. Right?
Yes, exactly. Yep.
And that was done by testing different body types, different ages, etc. before the app was launched.
Right. So we got a very large group of participants, had them go through all these videos along with the workout videos, and then, took the averages. Obviously, you can never get an exact number unless you're the actual person. But yeah, took the averages to show that, you can burn quite a bit of calories just doing 60 seconds of one Bhangra step. That's what we found out pretty quickly.
Right. So you'll also have the forums and the leaderboards and a big social aspect to it. So you've seen a lot of traction in this?
Yes. So, one of the cool features that we have is the upload your videos feature. What that allows people to do is compete against each other every week.
Oh, okay.
So what we do is we announce a contest, say on a Wednesday, and we say, upload a video of you dancing to this song. And people do that. And the next Wednesday, we announce a winner, the person who has the most likes within the app. So that's been really cool to watch people, put their creativity into it, their spin, and allow them to express themselves, right, using our app as the medium for that. So we have bigger plans for it. We want to grow it a lot more. But the initial response has been good, and it's nice to see people.
Great. Yeah, so I saw some reviews. It's supposedly tougher than the Spartan race. I must hear I must hear counter comments from Reebok about this.
Yeah.
So other than the app, I also see you're doing choreography and you're doing live studio sessions. So how is that going?
To answer your question, yeah, we originally, I was originally focusing on workshops outside of the country, kind of going to different places. But one thing I really missed was being back in the quote unquote classroom, right? Teaching consistently. And so that's where we kind of started this venture of teaching, where I'm located in New York City, of teaching, classes again. And it's been really nice because we had an amazing turnout in our first one in early September. And now we're seeing growth and people very interested, and kind of going back into the app and downloading it from there. So it's something that, again, I'm not doing every week. I'm doing about once every other week, 2 times a month. But it's allowed me to keep consistent with Bhangra. Kind of gives me practice for workshops as I come up, and overall, it's been a very great response in New York.
Great. So, I mean, you've got around, probably these are old figures, but 10,000 plus downloads and around, I think, 5,500 registered users, right?
Yeah, so now we're at close to about 30,000 downloads, and registered users is closer to probably within 13, 14K. I don't have the most recent numbers of that.
And that is, what's the time span for this?
So it's been a little less than 2 years. 2 years will be November, so we're pretty close to that time. But in about 2 years, we've hit the 30K mark, and the registered users, like I mentioned, about 12 to 13K.
Okay. And where have you seen most growth come from? Any particular region, or has it been the diaspora of the Indians abroad?
Yeah, interesting question. So originally, when we first started, and it's changed quite a bit, I should say, but when we first started, it was a lot of millennials. I'd say more friends, kind of locally in the East Coast of the United States area. Mm-hmm. But then it quickly grew in India and Pakistan quite a bit. So that continues to be our biggest area of downloads. Almost half come from the region there.
Oh, okay.
But what's also changed has been other smaller groups, such as places where there are Punjabis, US, UK, Canada, Australia, but also Latin America has been massive for us. And at this point, Mexico is the 5th biggest country where clothes come from. Yeah, and it's been really due to those workshops, right? I went to Mexico first. So I've been there twice now. And that was really a huge growth area from Mexico. Argentina's in our top 10. I went there for a week. Colombia, I just came back from a month ago. And that's also continuing to grow rapidly. Brazil, I should be going in just a few months here. So, I think the Latin America market is very, very keen on Desi culture in general, especially like Bollywood, and Bhangra is automatically getting the benefit of that wave of popularity of Indian culture, and so I think that's leading to a lot more opportunities for us out there as well as downloads.
Okay, and revenue model, as you said, it's mainly from the workout videos.
So we're lucky that we have a mix of things. So one would definitely be the in-app purchases of the workout videos. That's steadily increased over time. There's a slight amount from ads, but I think you have to hit quite a bit of a bigger number before ads really become a significant part of your revenue. The nice thing is also, like I mentioned, the outside opportunities from the app. So workshop, merchandise sales, those are also continuing to grow and become a bigger and bigger source of our revenue. So we have a little bit of a mix there. And then, one of the other features that we also offer within the app is a request form. So what's happened is now people can request either choreography or, part of a Bhangra routine for a competition. So allowing us to create choreography for people and create shows even for people. We've even gotten to that point. That's also another thing that's grown rapidly. So if you want your next wedding or kids performance or whatever it may be, to be created, and you don't have the resources, we can now do that.
Okay, great. And so apps like, not apps, but workouts like, let's say P90X or Insanity, would they be complementary or helping you, or is it competition?
Yeah, I think doing them is actually complementary because it shows you what kind of structure and system you're going to expect. In fact, Insanity was really a great inspiration for me. I tried it, I loved it, and I realized, hey, this is something I could try to do with Bhangra.
Absolutely.
And that's really what the Bhangra workout is. So I think they're only helpful because they get you in a mindset of expecting what the Bhangra workout will look like. As far as, the other dance forms out there, let's say dance fitness, such as Zumba, that type, I think there's an element of also comparison to that as well, because you are, at the end of the day, doing a dance, learning a dance as well. So it's sort of an in between of insanity and Zumba, I would say, but probably a little bit more towards the insanity side.
Great. And so you're bootstrap currently, and I think getting revenues already. Any plans for funding?
At this point, we've been lucky that we've been able to do everything self-funded. Maybe down the line, it would be more on the marketing side is where we'd really
Correct.
be
Correct.
looking to utilize with maybe a few additions to the app. But I think right now we're happy with what we've been doing. We are seeing the growth. A lot of our growth is going to come from our marketing, at least, will come from word of mouth, social media, that type.
Correct.
And so, I think what we've been able to accomplish with our social media platform has allowed us to keep our funding to where we can self-fund it. And so right now there's no immediate plans, but it
Okay.
is always a future possibility.
Okay. And what's the team size currently?
Yes. So currently we have 12 people on our team, and
Mhm.
it grows, I'd say, about every month. We have a core team of about 5 people. So
Okay.
that includes myself, our head of marketing, 2 people on the social media team, and then somebody who helps out with the administrative side as well. So the core team focuses on those functions. I handle kind of finance,
Yep.
HR,
Yep.
and that side of it. But we also have a great brand ambassador program. So those are people who are located all over the world who are basically the face of our app, quote unquote, in their
Okay.
local region.
Got
So
it.
they
Got it.
attend events for us and do that. So that has grown significantly and continues to grow every time either I do a workshop
Mhm.
or somebody contacts us and says, we want to be the brand ambassador in this region. That's allowed us to really help that local organic growth in the regions.
Okay. And are you already also doing like corporate trainings, etc.?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the
Are
question?
you also doing any corporate trainings or corporate events, etc.?
Corporate, it's we've done a couple,
Uh-huh.
and that's something I would like to get more and more into. I think the fitness side of it is pretty big. We're looking to get into like corporate gyms, right, where they're offering
Correct.
classes to employees, that type of thing. So it's been definitely an initiative for us, and we're continuing to explore more and more into that. So yeah, definitely on our radar. I wouldn't say we've hit the numbers we'd like to yet
Yeah.
on it,
Yeah.
but it has its own specific plan that we are attacking.
Got it. So moving out of business, Lavesh, who influenced you most in life over time?
Yeah, I so my background is I'm Sindhi,
Okay.
and if you know anything about Sindhis, we've always been entrepreneurs. We
Correct.
many times own our own businesses. So I think my family, and when I mean my family, really extended family, has been a huge influence on me. I've been lucky to grow up with a very large family close by, and so seeing how my dad, my uncles were able to start from nothing, right, and move from India and go to all different parts of the world. Many ending up in the U.S. with very little in their pockets. That's been a huge influence for me because it's always inspired me to say, okay, if they could do it, then I should be able to do it. And even though this day and age is maybe a little different than what they were in, it's the principles I think are still always going to be relevant of hard work
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and being able to do what you need to succeed. So that's probably been the biggest influence.
Okay. And what's some of the best advice you've gotten over time?
For me, it's always been, I think, time management. I've seen one thing my mother is very good at doing is a million things in a day, and I think watching her has kind of rubbed off on me because um, you don't have to be the smartest. I am certainly not,
Mhm.
and the most talented. Again, I'm certainly not. But I think if somebody has discipline and time management and the ability to really stick to that schedule and set goals for themselves and accomplish those goals, I think wonders can be achieved. I would really say that's probably the biggest reason why the app has gotten the success it has
Absolutely.
thus far,
Yep.
has been sticking to your schedule and setting achievable goals, and then going out and making a plan to achieve them. So that's probably been the best advice and thing I've learned.
Okay. So you've had various corporate gigs and also you've been currently working also, but what's what's making you go towards entrepreneurship, or when did you know you're meant for this side of entrepreneurship?
I think the freedom that it allows you to to have, and also it's probably the challenge. I'd have to say, you know, like I mentioned earlier, I love sports,
Yep.
and sports, obviously, competition is a big part of that. I think the competition against yourself, the challenge against yourself, is probably the most biggest driving factor of why I like to uh, be in this in entrepreneurial venues. You basically have to prove to yourself that you can do this. You don't have a boss overlooking, over your shoulder, telling you have to do this and you have to do that. Your boss is your own self,
Yeah.
and yourself is telling you that if you don't do this, well, in many ventures you don't eat, or you don't get hit this goal or that goal or whatever it may be.
Correct.
So I think that challenge is what really drives me, and makes me prove to myself that I can do this. And when you do hit that goal, when you do achieve a certain level, there's no bigger reward or satisfaction to say that I proved it to myself. That if you can make yourself happy with what you've done, what bigger victory is there?
Very true. And so, I mean, over these 2 years, any time or any low point where you just wanted to completely give up?
Yeah, unfortunately, being in this type of industry, one of the biggest challenges comes to legal copyright issues with music. So
Yes.
anytime you teach Bhangra, you want to have good music, good songs, but those songs are difficult to obtain the rights for. So we did all our due diligence, we got all our signatures. But I did get into one, pretty big legal dispute where the artist gave away permissions and rights that they did not have.
Oh, okay.
And of course, me, it was unknowingly. So getting involved with a record label and having to fight it out with the lawyers, that was a very dangerous, kind of ugly situation. That put us in a very bad spot because a third of our tutorial videos were using songs from this artist, and we basically had to remove all of them. And luckily, we worked out a deal with the record label, but getting up to that point to where,
Oh, yeah.
we were fighting it through the courts. It was an international record label, all that. Getting to that was an unpleasant feeling. And I said, well, look, this is a free app at the end of the day. Should I be killing myself over all this? But luckily I stayed the course. I had some good support from family, and we were able to work out a deal to get all the videos in 30 days, completely changed with another artist, dub the music over, and to the end user, there was no change in experience. They didn't even realize
Oh, wow.
what had happened.
Okay.
Just uploaded new videos quickly within the app on literally the 29th day, and yeah, it ended up working out.
Great. So at present, any new feature or launch coming up that's getting you and the team really excited?
We actually just recently did some cool updates. So right now, the biggest thing we will be focusing on, which I think is still a couple months away, we'd say early 2017, would be a little bit of a UI UX redesign. So, the face and look of the app, maybe a little bit on the logo side. We will definitely be improving the Bhangra workout feature on both our website and the app. So there's a little bit more to come. With that, we're actually spreading it into its own company right now. It is basically spinning off to become an instructor-led program, very similar to what, Zumba, like we mentioned earlier, kind of does. So where you can learn Bhangra in a fitness center. So that is something that is also kind of growing. And then once we get some more feedback from what, people on the street say, we'll bring it back to the app. So I think there's going to be some changes there, as well as the UI UX of the overall app.
Okay, great. And where do you see yourself in your business, let's say, in the next 2 to 3 years?
I think the biggest thing that I really would like the app to grow in within is the media side of it, like I mentioned. So,
Correct.
being having, I guess, my face more out there. If I ever saw myself on a billboard, I guess that'd be pretty cool. But being able to spread traditional folk Bhangra in within Bollywood, it's always a little watered down in what you see in the Desi media. So I'd like to take that and maybe spread that, as well as the Western side. I think there's a huge appetite for what comes out of India now, and in many places, and and I'd like to kind of promote the roots and where it come from. That was originally the whole idea behind the app, right? Being able to promote
Yep, yep.
traditional folk Bhangra, to show people what the dance really looks like, outside of what they see in a few Bollywood numbers, and so I'd like to get that into a wider scale through media, and so I'm hoping we can connect with some good people in that space.
Great. So now we move to a part of the show which is a quick fire round, simple, brief answers. Okay.
Mhm.
So when people ask you, what do you do? How do you answer that?
I still haven't figured that one out, but I typically say that I'm a dancer with an app. That's the easiest
All
way.
right. When you think of the word successful, who is the first person that comes to mind?
Oh, good question. I would probably have to say, I really like Bill Gates. I
Okay.
think what Microsoft has been able to do with changing with the times and always innovating, and that's definitely been a big influencer and following kind of that company, and also works along with my Lenovo career. So,
Okay.
I can definitely appreciate what Microsoft does.
Right. What do you excel at that people might not realize?
Going back, I think time management. That's probably the best thing
Uh-huh.
I can do. And down to taking a shower in a day. I mean, I plan out my schedule to a T. And so
Okay.
I think I think that's definitely
All right. Okay.
one of my few skills.
Okay. And what is something you believe in that other people think is insane?
I would say good one. Can we come back to that
Of
one?
course we can. What would you say
Sure.
is your greatest weakness?
Greatest weakness is probably going to be getting me bad here. All right.
we
Let's get back to that one
we
too.
can always skip. Oh, and finally, what's your favorite city?
Favorite city on earth, I'll give you my top five. So New York is always going to be number one, but number two would be Hong Kong, number three would be Rio, number four Miami, number five Zurich.
Oh,
Pretty
great.
wide range of cities there,
Yeah.
but I do like to give my top five. They all deserve their place, I think.
Cool. And finally, Lavesh, any last thought or piece of advice that you may have missed that you want to give our listeners?
Yeah, I think overall, if you're looking at any venture or any type of project you want to get into, you definitely have to give your full commitment to it, and I think it deserves that. You, like I mentioned, time management is one big thing, but also getting the right people behind you to help you through that process. There were some mentors that I had along the
Hmm.
way who also had successful apps, and so they gave me a lot of the developer contacts, and more than that, they told me, here's what you need to look for in your wireframes. Here's what you need to
Yeah.
look for in what end users want. So it's critical to have the right mentors, or at least a mentor, to take you through that entire process as well. But don't feel scared to share your idea with people. You hear that, you always need to have an NDA and you always need to do
Yep.
this
Yep.
and that. Remember that, out of the 90% of people or that may have that same idea as it's only going to be a small percent that'll ever go and do something about it, and that's who you are. You're the one who will go and do something about it, if you're really putting your effort and inquiring into it. So I don't think you should ever feel afraid of running your idea by people.
Okay. And do let our listeners know how they can reach you and also the Learn Bhangra app.
Sure. So, you can always get in touch with us through our social media. It's at Learn Bhangra App for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We
Hmm.
also have a great website, www.learnbhangraapp.com, as well as our email address, learnbhangraapp@gmail, or you can contact me directly at LPRITMANI. So that's L Prithmani at learnbhangraapp.com.
Great. Again, Lavesh, thanks for taking the time to talk to us and inspiring our listeners to start their own ventures. And all the very best at building and scaling Learn Bhangra.
Thank you very much, Rajiv Ji. I appreciate your time,
No
and
problem.
yeah,
Do
great one.
visit learnbhangraapp.com and visit us at theasianentrepreneur.com to get the show notes and also subscribe to our show on all the platforms. And do leave a review on your thoughts about the show. Thank you.
Thank you for listening, and please subscribe to the show so you don't miss an episode. In the meantime, head over to theasianentrepreneur.com and check out show notes and other information to motivate you in your entrepreneurial endeavors.